I'm Robert Bell, and we're here at the 2013 NAB show talking with thought leaders in media contribution and distribution about some of the most important trends shaping the industry, from technology shifts to changing viewer expectations. And here's what one of them had to say about the most important changes taking place today.
Well, multi-screen environments have been good for the industry as a whole. I mean, our view right now is multi-screen environment and consumption of video to iPads and iPhones and PCs is a norm. It's expanding exponentially. From the industry's perspective, it's a good thing. It's giving users the ability to consume content on more devices. It's giving content owners the ability to reach audiences they had not reached before. And it's broken up demographically between young folks, middle-aged folks, and older folks on how they present content to them and how they consume it. It's been a good thing for all of us. Well, it kind of feeds all into the same thing, right? You have an infrastructure that provides media content globally today, and content owners and service providers are trying to figure out, how do I make that infrastructure more efficient, more cost effective, and how do I continue to reach those audiences? And then also, how do I take content and put it into many more formats, many more scalings, and get that content out into all these other devices, the alternative paths? And it's creating quite a few challenges. It's more content in more formats to more people and more devices. Well, what we're doing at Globecomm is our core value proposition is we have a global network, global communications, Globecomm. So we have a global backbone that is fed by satellite. It's also fed by terrestrial IP. And what we're trying to do for people, and if you come by our booth and see our booth, is we're actually illustrating, this content that it needs to be made more efficient, and this content that is being driven to internet type devices, and it's also being driven direct from the broadcaster that actually produces it and directly to the consumer. So we're trying to fit those applications and serve the most efficient ways of distributing that content globally. Top priorities from our perspective are just that you need to be able to figure out how to make your operations, existing operations, traditional operations, as efficient and effective as possible. So part of our core value proposition is just to do that. Make your networks most efficient. And that's done with a host of partners. We're partnered with many of the technology providers here in the hall today. And we're providing new technologies like advanced compression technologies, HEVC, H.264 and 5, advanced modulation schemes to make your traditional distribution more efficient. We're also providing tools and applications that ride on top of our network to help these content providers and service providers provide content to these over-the-top services and to direct consumer. That's part of our core value proposition. I do, actually. I mean, it's changing, and it's changing no differently than what happened years ago when people went to compress from MPEG-2 to MPEG-4. You got more payload and more applications that could be distributed over that same satellite link. But to be clear, satellite from point to multi-point is still a very efficient, effective way to distribute content on a global basis, and I believe it will be for the rest of my career. But you have to know that best path applications, meaning is it most effective to distribute your content over a satellite link or an IP terrestrial link, are taken into consideration these days. So we very much believe it's a best path scenario, and satellite will be part of that, but IP terrestrial distribution is also very important these days. Tough question, but I think if you see the trend, there's an evolution of television and media and entertainment that's happening right in front of us. I think TV and entertainment as a whole is going to go through a large transition. It's going to happen in our lifetime in the next 10 years. And what you'll see is the interaction of social media and how that drives consumption patterns and how people consume video. You'll see forms of advanced advertising come where you're targeting people in a much different way than you do today. And I think what you'll find is the traditional business models that are in place today for content and distribution of content will evolve very quickly. And what you'll see in the future, 2016, people are going to be talking about how I manage your content and how I secure your content and how I place advertisement on your content and how I monetize your content in a much different way and broader way than we do today on a global basis. I'll give you an example. One of our partners in the booth today, their name is TotoCast. We did a deal with a content owner that had been distributing his content over cable plants today. It's a bit niche content and it became a bit costly to do so. He came to us and said, how do I do it in a very cost-effective manner? And let's go broadband. And we gave him means of doing his distribution very cost-effectively. We were able to set it up very quickly. And he moved from a traditional business model, distribution model, to a new distribution model that is broadband-based. And he didn't go direct to the cable MSO or the lineup that's on your cable plant, but he went direct to the consumer. And it's linked all to new ways of acquiring that content in social media. So it's here, it's now, and it's going to expand.